I'm Christine Schiavone, and our show is Spiritual Exploration. Tonight we're going to talk about healing your mind, body, and soul. No one is immune from having had loss. We've lost parents, we've lost loved ones of all kinds, even pets, that we need to heal from having had these losses so that we can move on and live our lives until it's our time, because all of us eventually will wind up on the other side. And here to talk with me about all of these things is George Casazza, who is also a producer here at CTV. Hi, George.
Hi, how are you?
I'm very good. How are you?
Thank you for having me on.
Oh, it is my pleasure. We've been meaning to do this, and all of a sudden it just came together, right?
Yes.
So it's meant to be. There were no accidents.
Nope.
So, well, tonight we're going to talk about healing the mind, body, and soul from having had loss, because we've all experienced loss, and whoever hasn't, well, you will, because none of us are immune from it. As long as you have love in your heart for another being, no matter if it's human or animal or whatever, you're going to experience losing that being, and it's very difficult, and we all need to heal from these things, and I'm sure that in our audience, everybody can really relate to what I'm saying. Tonight, George and I are going to talk about how to heal from this, and also we'll go into what happens on the other side in the afterlife.
Okay.
So, George, tell us, first of all, you are a hypnotist, right?
Yes. Hypnotist, hypnosis instructor.
Okay, and you are able to bring people to a point where they can speak to their loved ones.
Yes.
Right?
What I do is I bring the client to the deepest states of hypnosis, and while I'm deepening them, I give them healing suggestions and suggestions for our well-being and happiness. And when I have them in the deepest state, I separate their mind from their body, and then the mind separate from the physical, I guide to those higher states of awareness, higher consciousness, and I direct it to the other side.
That's interesting.
And when they're there is no guesswork. You know, like you see a lot of mediums and they do a lot of guesswork. It seems like they're doing a lot of guesswork. Mm-hmm. You don't know if who's real and who's not. But this, you have an absolute awareness. You see, feel, hear your loved ones very clearly, as clear as we can see each other right now. And you hear, you feel, and you're there with your spirit guides, also known as our guardian angels. And the spirit guides have an intimate knowledge of your path, your blueprint. So when I bring people there, one, you can't really describe, you'd have to experience it to really understand. Now, take the happiest feeling you ever felt in your entire life. Combine that with the most amount of love you've ever felt in your entire life. Multiply that feeling by 1,000,000, and that's a fraction of what you feel when you're there in the presence of your spirit guides.
Really? Wow.
Yes.
Is that also then what you might feel after you have passed?
Oh, yes. It's a beautiful, amazing experience. It's a perfect place. Well, let me say about when I bring a client there, and then, just to let you know, you don't have to die to go there.
Okay.
Okay. So I got to clarify that. So when I bring them back, they now have this new awareness. They have a new love for life. All the biggest problems they thought they had before they went there now seem so trivial. And they have this absolute awareness that we're going to this perfect place once we leave here. And our souls are eternal, and 100 years on Earth is a blink of an eye on the other side.
That's what I hear. They bat an eye and 20 years goes by and that's it. Yeah, I know. The time doesn't mean anything there.
No, it doesn't. And some people would say, like a lot, because Staten Island. We are on Staten Island, right?
Yes.
I forgot where we were for a second. There are a lot of skeptical people, and they say, well, you know, it's just their mind, their imagination. It can't be real.
Yeah.
And I used to say, if it's real or it's not real, by the way, I know that it's real. I'm going on record, it's real. But I used to say, if it's real or it's not real, it doesn't matter. The benefits of visiting, the transformation in the client are tremendous. It's just so much value in doing that. So whether it's real or it's not real, I used to say, it doesn't matter. Because you could do something a million times perfectly. That one time that you don't get it right, oh, it doesn't work. So that's a lot of people. So I don't argue with anyone. You could believe whatever you want to believe, and it doesn't matter what religion you are and what your belief system is. You still go there. It's a perfect place that we're going to. Now, do you want to know how real
Yeah,
it is?
that was
Besides
my next question.
going there myself, and besides bringing, I can't even count, hundreds, maybe thousands of clients to the other side. They all have correlating information, people from all parts of the world that I've seen, different areas of the country that I bring people there, and they give me the same information. And people that they don't know each other, they never met, they'll give me the same information about each other, whether they had a past life together or not. In any case, I always knew it was real. But what solidified everything, some years back, had a 16-year-old girl came to me for hypnosis. So I was doing, building her confidence and, strengthening her ego. And I said, you know what, while I had her in a deep state of hypnosis, I said, you know what, let me bring her to the other side. And a little bit of background on the girl, she had no education past the 8th grade. Okay, very intelligent, knows how to read, but never read a book. She was never in a church. She doesn't know anything about religion. And of course, she didn't know anything about me. Nothing. She just knew that I was a hypnotist. That's it. Anyway, so I bring her to the other side. She tells me she's there with her spirit guide. Of course, she doesn't know what a spirit guide is, but she's telling me she's there with. So I'm doing a Q&A, and after a couple of minutes, I said, you know what? Ask your spirit guide if she wouldn't mind coming in and speaking to me for a little bit. She said, okay. I said, all right, on the count of 3, tell her to let me know when she's in. 1, 2, 3. I tap her on the head. Her body was shaking, eyes fluttering, and hello.
So the spirit guide channeled through her.
Yes. So the girl was no longer in her body. So now her spirit guide is in her body, and she told me that she guided the girl to see me because she was seriously considering suicide. And I says, oh, how can I help? And she says, no, you already helped her with the hypnosis. I said, okay. And then, I was doing a lot of, questioning and answering. And I asked her if she knew any of my spirit guides. She started naming them. And I says, is one of them available to come in and speak to me now? She said, yes. I said, okay, count of 3, same thing, 1, 2, 3, tapped her on the head.
Your spirit guide.
Now, my spirit guide is speaking to me through this girl. The girl is no longer in her body. So she started telling me things about myself, my experiences that no other person on this planet could possibly know. I'm the only one who knows. And she would say, I was there when this happened to you. I was there when that happened. I was there when this happened. I was there when you were 10 years old and that happened. And
right.
So for me, absolute proof, absolute certainty.
Did you get your spirit guide's name?
Yes.
Okay. You want to share it or no?
I guess since you asked, I will.
Okay.
Her name was Sophie.
Sophie.
Yes.
Now,
She's my spirit guide even before I came into this world and in my last life.
Really?
And, oh, by the way, I know this sounds crazy, but it's okay with you, right? Because you're crazy too?
Oh, I guess so.
Yeah.
Why not? Yeah.
But she's not my spirit guide right now. Because they come and go. They do change.
So where did Sophie go then?
You're really going to ask me that now?
Well,
all right. I have tons and tons of video of me speaking with my spirit guide, Sophie. And so I always had that. I had that girl come back several times. So I would video.
Did she know that she was channeling Sophie?
Yes. Consciously, afterwards, she was spooked out about it. But when she was there, she just loved it. Because while she wasn't in her body, she was on the other side. And she had hundreds of light beings around her.
And she remembered that?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I have that on video, too, where she's describing where she was and how much love she felt from all of these beings. But consciously, she was spooked out about it, but she'd love to go there.
Well, tell me about people that go to the other side who were, I mean, by and large, I think people are basically good. But there are people that were, that are evil people that are that take glee in hurting others and things like that. When they pass, what becomes of them? I mean, do they see the light or what?
Well, I don't like to talk about the dark side. I don't like to give it any energy.
Yeah.
Most people, even people that do bad things, I'm using this right? Because I always
guess,
get confused when I use these things.
That's
bad,
like the quotes, yeah.
Yeah. I might use them in the wrong place, and you'll let me know, right?
I guess.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Thank you. Well, I hope you do.
Yes.
Okay, most people are a product of their programming. And a lot of times, how are you programmed? From the moment, even when you're in the womb, you're already being programmed. Children, up until the age of, I think, about maybe 6 to 8, they're in a constant hypnotic state. So everything, they're getting all this information, and a lot of it's mislearned behavior. Parents teaching them the wrong thing, or watching a TV program, not even in the same room, they could be affected by that. But anyway, most people are a product of their programming, and sometimes it's bad programming. They're not necessarily evil. But on the other hand, there are evil people on this planet. They specifically are reincarnated to cause destruction, misery, chaos.
They have their purpose, huh?
They have a purpose, and that's to create misery, chaos, destruction.
For what reason?
Well, just like we're light beings, and we're here to bring in love and light. We like happiness.
Right.
They're here to do the opposite. They don't want there to be any more light. They want the darkness.
Now,
These are people with no conscience. Have you ever met someone with no conscience?
I imagine I probably have.
Oh, then you're lucky if you really can't think of it, because I've met a lot of people with no conscience.
I imagine that I have, that if I really thought about it, I could come up with a few.
Okay.
But, all right, well, now, as we said in the beginning of the show, and then we'll go back into what it's like after people pass, but I know that there are quite a few people out there in our audience that haven't had a loss that they feel has been devastating. A spouse, a parent, even a child, a pet even can be a very devastating loss.
Yes.
So how do we cope with these things? How do we move on? How do we stop crying? How do we stop feeling the loss and being able to live our lives to the fullest without, with the knowledge that, okay, we're going to see this loved one again someday?
Well, sometimes when that question is presented to me, I may come off like a little cold, which I'm not. I'm a very loving, caring person. I care about every single person very deeply, even the little evil people. But I do.
Yeah, I bet.
But loss. Some people are devastated, and some people will go their entire lives holding on to that loss, and all those strong feelings with that loss until the day they die. Where automatically I know, I don't want to say it doesn't make sense to do that, but it really doesn't, because they're going to a perfect place, and our souls are eternal. The only thing I can say about it is, if that does happen, and you have a lot of people that are really devastated and they'll go to mediums. And that's pretty powerful when you sit there with a real medium or a real psychic, and they're getting that information and telling the client what's going on. Okay, he's here or she's here, and she's saying this, and remember this. And that's very rewarding, and it's very valuable. What I like that I do is that I bring the client there face to face. So there's no in between. Because have you been to a psychic or medium where you've received messages?
Yes, absolutely.
Now let me ask you: would you prefer now? And that was pretty powerful, right?
Yeah.
Now, would you prefer to be there in that area of perfection, of love, of healing, and see that loved one face to face? Give that loved one a hug?
Sure.
It's pretty powerful.
Yeah.
So I know that people hold on to that, and some people are really devastated, but they have to know that it's the cycle, and we choose to come here. We choose to experience the things that we experience. It is a pretty negative world, but I'm trying to change that. So.
Well, we're all trying to change that. I mean, just by being here doing this show,
Yeah.
I believe is a step in that direction, because we are opening up to people who are watching us now, and they are hopefully gaining something by our conversation. So, but we all know innately, okay, we're going to see our loved one again. the person is probably around us a good portion of the time, especially when we want them to be. But we still miss them, so we
Yes.
still feel the pain of the loss.
Yes.
And it's a very difficult pain to get past. And so what can we do?
Well, once I bring them to the other side to visit,
They
they
feel
don't have
better?
that. And even if their loved one is not available at the time, because on the other side, your loved ones are working, are learning, they're going to school. And when I say working, they're not working for money, because there's no such thing. You don't need money up there.
Right,
They're learning and they're working to evolve their souls,
right.
because that's a continuous process.
Yes.
We're here on earth to evolve our souls, and on the other side, we're still working to evolve our souls. But it's even if their loved one's not available, when I bring them there, let's say they come the first time, because usually, sometimes there's an orientation process. If someone just recently passed, sometimes that orientation's a week, sometimes it's a couple of months, sometimes it may even go longer than a year for that
Depending on
orientation.
what?
Well, you have to get, sometimes when they leave this body that they're in now, and they're there, after they pass away, they're not getting used to the vibration. They for whatever reason, or they're still holding on to something that they didn't accomplish, and it's interfering with them getting that vibration, that level of vibration to be on the other side. So they take their time and they get accustomed to where they are.
I see. So it's a matter of getting used to it, huh?
Yes, but sometimes people get used to it like this.
Yeah, I've heard of that too.
I know my grandmother passed in '07 and in April, and by, I think, a couple of weeks later, I brought family members up there to visit, and then I went like a month afterwards, and she was fine, she was there, and
You bring yourself there too?
yes, I go there all the time.
Wow,
It's a beautiful place.
I'll bet. Sure.
Well, I go there to connect to Source, and
Source being
Source, the beautiful, pure love, white light, healing energy from
God.
from the universe, and I channel that through myself to heal. I do a lot of remote healing, and that's what I teach. I teach a lot of remote healing.
Remote healing meaning when someone's in one place and you're in another, and
Correct. Which we'll get to in a minute, because I think we're still talking about the other side.
right. Yes.
Okay.
So they say that when you go to the other side, you have a place to stay also when you're almost like an apartment or a house or something. Is that true?
Yes, a lot of souls live together.
Together.
We all have like a circle of friends, of family, and it's not always the same. And a lot of us that are here on Earth are traveling together. We come into this lifetime together.
They say most of us have known each other from before.
Yes, absolutely, and from the other side.
Yes, exactly.
But on the other side, you're able to create from nothing. We actually can do it here, but no one knows how to do it yet, really. Some of us do, but there it's instant. You manifest your intentions just with your mind. It's there. It's like this. So you can create an entire building for yourself, a mansion, but you don't really need it. There's no status. There's no ego. There's no competition. Everyone is on different levels, but that's the way it is. And it's just positive. There is no negative whatsoever. And if you're on a different level, if you're on a higher level, it's like, oh, well, soon I'll be there, and, there's no competition.
Right.
Everyone, there's respect, there's love, pure love. It's a beautiful place.
So more or less then you hang out with people that you've known from here, and you make new friends, and then when you come back, you'll come back with the same people in another generation?
A lot of times, yeah, a lot of times.
Yeah.
And then you get a lot of people that, they're your mother in this life, and in your last life, she was your daughter, and, or son.
Whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah. So all right, so then people on the other side, and this hopefully can help us all in the healing phase of our being here, but to know that our loved ones are in a good place, can they help us from over there?
Yes. You have to ask. But I don't recommend asking your loved ones to do things, because they're pretty busy unless they're already a guide. But ask your spirit guides anything you want, and they'll do absolutely anything to help you.
Oh, in other words, you can say to your spirit guide, I would like to open a business, and I want you to guide me into helping it be successful.
Yes. The only thing is, though, I like to teach people to do everything for themselves on their own, because that's more powerful than. I mean, you could ask, and they'll make all the adjustments to make that a reality. But you have the ability to do anything and everything. As a human being, you have this ability. Mm-hmm. You can create your reality like this. You can manifest your intentions into reality like this. So I like to teach people, because everything is in the mind. There's no reason to suffer. And one of my goals, anyone who comes into my path, there's no reason from that moment on to ever suffer with anything ever again. There's no reason for it.
They say suffering is optional, but when you're in the midst of suffering because you're missing a person or somebody that has gone on, it's hard to.
I guess for a lot of people, yes, it is. That's why it's important to go visit.
Yeah.
And that's why I like to do that. I like to bring them to go visit. Let me give you an example of one girl, a woman in Florida. She actually lost both parents. She had to pull the plug on her mother. So, which is pretty tough. And she was living with that guilt that she pulled the plug on her mother, and it was eating away at her. She couldn't. I mean, it was really affecting every part of her life. She couldn't even get a job or hold a job, and she couldn't have kids. And then after her parents passed, she had 2 kids, and she wanted to share it with them, but so she had this loss and this guilt. So she came to me. Of course, I did a lot of confidence building, everything else, and then I brought her to the other side. When she first got there, and she's not accustomed to any of this. She's not metaphysically oriented. She's like a very
down to earth.
Yes, a very mechanical world. You wake up, you do what you have to do, and there's nothing else except the physical world. So she's not accustomed to any of it. Anyway, I bring her to the other side, and she starts telling me there's someone there with her. I says, well, ask who it is. I don't know who it is. Ask the person
who they are.
The name. And I think the name was John. And she goes, but I don't know him. I don't know who he is. I says, well, what are you feeling? She goes, I feel this amazing amount of love from him. It's so warm. And well, ask John who he is. And he says he's my spirit guide. Then he must be your spirit guide, because they don't lie up there. Well, sometimes they do play games and remind me to remind you, or tell you later. Remind me to tell you later about some of the games they play.
Okay.
So we're doing a Q&A, because she wants to know if she's on her right path, if she should be in Florida, if she should be in a different state. Anyway, we're asking these questions. She's getting the answers, and then and she wanted to visit with her mother and father. And I said, well, ask your spirit guide if your mother and father is available to come and see you right now. And as soon as we asked the question, her mother showed up. Father wasn't available. He was busy. I think he was learning music or something, whatever it was.
Really?
Yes. So the mother showed up, and you see the tears rolling down her face, and George, she's so beautiful. My she's here. And I said, all right, I'll give you time, to spend with your mother. And she goes, oh, she's rubbing my face. It's big smile. And then we're, asking questions. And I gave her time on her own. And you can see all the tears just rolling down. Guess what? After that, she was able to get a job, promotion after promotion. And she absolutely loved it. And she got to visit. And then, of course, it made no sense for her to have that guilt. The mother explained to her, no, it was my time to go.
Yeah.
Thank you for doing that, because, they would have kept me there, and I would have had to, whatever it was, go back and forth.
She would have been a vegetable for God knows how long. And
so she says, no, that was my time to go, and so on. And she explained to her that, we come to the house and we visit. We've seen we seen your children, our grandchildren. And it was a year later, I do this stage show where I bring volunteers on stage, I do some hypnosis with them, and then I bring them to that deep state, and then I bring them to the other side. And she happened to be one of the volunteers for this show. And when she was there, her mother and father showed up. Her father told her, yeah, I come and I play with, I forget the child's name, but his grandson, her child, I play with him all the time. And she told me that after the show. And then another year later, I was having a conversation with her, and she was telling me that, when she's in the park, her son will be looking, and there's nobody there. It's an empty field, and her son is laughing hysterical. And she says, why are you laughing? Oh, because the man is juggling. He's acting like a clown. And You know, he's very funny. And in any case, he's always telling his mother about this man that comes and plays with him and stuff. And then when she got a picture of her father, and she says, he goes, "Oh, that's the man that plays with me, that juggles." And
Really?
yes. And I said to her, I said, "Well, don't you remember a year earlier that your mother and father came to you and he said that he comes and plays with your son?" She goes, "No, I don't remember that." I said, "Well, I have it on video. I could show you." So, and she forgot all about that. And then a year later, so they're there with you. When you leave this world, your body is gone. Your body dies.
Yeah.
Your soul is eternal.
Right.
They're always there. Of course, unless they're reborn.
Right.
Sometimes someone will be reborn right away. Sometimes 10 years from now, 100 years. Sometimes a person will wait 1,000 years to be reborn.
Yeah, yeah.
So-
It depends. I know. Well, I think that I'm hoping, in my case, all the people that I've seen go, I'll see them before they get reborn. You know, I mean, we all have a time that we're born and a time that we die, and it's nobody is exempt. So, but now you're saying that when people are, as you say, like suffering because of loss, if they are able to see where their loved one has gone and how they're doing, it sort of like takes the pain away.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. First of all, when you go to the other side, when I bring you to those higher areas, a lot of times instant healing takes place. So whatever emotional, mental, spiritual, physical healing, a lot of it takes place right there while you're on the other side. So when you come back, sometimes your vision is corrected, permanently corrected.
Wow.
Yeah.
People have come back shedding diseases like cancer and diabetes and.
We'll get to that in a moment when I do the healing, mind, body, and soul.
Oh, okay.
But remind me, I don't want to forget, would you like to go to the other side to visit? We can't do it tonight.
Right, but another time, yes, I would.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Because I want to do a show here at the station where I do bring people to the other side.
We'll talk about that too.
Okay.
Yes, absolutely. This is all right up my alley. I mean, I've always been interested in what we can't see, because even as a small child, I knew. So I must have some experience, I guess. But even as a child, I knew that there was more than meets the eye, and I would tell that to the adults around me. And at that time, people weren't that into looking at these kinds of things and being serious about taking a look at them. But nowadays, I think we have evolved into where everybody's interested in knowing about the other side and what happens to their loved ones, etc., and all the other things that come of a spiritual nature.
Yes. I was just thinking, when you were saying that, I was just thinking about my best friend. He actually believes once you die, you're dead, that's it, you don't exist.
There are people who believe that.
A lot of people.
Yeah.
I don't want to say that's just limited to Staten